Hi, this is Myra with Boutique Paint. We're going to do a little bit of holiday whiplash. And what I mean by that is because Iron Orchid came out early with their holiday stuff, which is fabulous. A lot of people want to get going on Christmas early. Um, but then there's still, fall and there's still Halloween. And so we're going to do pumpkins today. And we are going to use the new Heavenly stamp for it. Yes, I did say that correctly, and you'll understand here shortly. We're going to do one pumpkin that's maybe a little bit more traditional, and then we're going to do one that's definitely feels like Iron Orchid. So this is a 4x4 chunk of wood, which I had in my backyard, and I cut into two pieces. I realize most people don't have chunks of wood laying around their yard. I do because we are always a construction site. We're working on a house next door. So I have lots of chunks laying around, but I always have chunks laying around just because of what I do. If you don't have chunks, two things you can do. Check your neighbor, see what they might have. The other thing is to go to your hardware store, and towards the back of the store in the lumber department, sometimes they have scraps, things where the customer had them cut something and it's just a little piece of something. Sometimes they'll give it to you, sometimes they'll charge you a small fee for it. So that's an option too. And then also, most of us do have a 2x4 piece, maybe laying around. Yes, no, maybe. So I thought I'd try one on just a 2x4 also. So what I'm going to do is, these are nice and dirty because they were just laying in a pile. This has got lots of sap on it. That's okay. Our little pumpkin, sometimes your pumpkins, when you pick them, they've got little warts and imperfections, and I don't see why these guys have to be any different. So I'm just going to brush off that. Then I'm going to quickly sand, and this is a coarse grit sandpaper. Sorry if this noise makes you crazy. But I'm just going to quickly go on all four sides on that. This one will probably be my bottom because I didn't actually cut the end of this off like I did the other one. It wasn't quite straight, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint it. As soon as I get all this crud, this mess I made. Okay. Better. And I'm using Summer Crush. That's a great pumpkin color, don't you think? If this is something you want, something a little bit maybe more orange, more typical pumpkin, I don't know, you could put a little bit of white in that, but I like that, so that's what we're going to use for mine. And I'm going to spray this wood because chances are, even though it's been in my yard, it's been summer and it's been dry, and that wood is probably pretty dried out, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of water just to help with the first coat. Let's see, I'm going to grab something, grab a stamp pad just to flip this over on. Okay, now the fun part. So my blocks are painted, they're dried. I cheated, I used my heat gun because I'm impatient. And the first one we're going to do is going to be our more traditional one. And I was looking at these, I knew I wanted to do some block pumpkins. And when I got these, I thought, oh, wouldn't that make a cute mouth for the pumpkin? But then I opened it up and I saw this and I thought that one would make a really cute mouth for a pumpkin. So our traditional one, we're going to use this little corner. Once again, this is the new Heavenly stamp. I'll set this aside. And we'll get a thin mount out. Actually, I think I'm gonna maybe try to center him up a smidge. So I'm using one that has a grid just to kind of give me, not that, you know, pumpkins are a lot of times freehand anyway. I think I'm going to do him on the smaller one. Make sure I have the top that I want. Okay. And I'm going to use black ink. A lot of times I like to use the stone gray, but because it's Halloween and pumpkins, it's got to be black, right? No, it doesn't, but on this it's going to be. So I'm just going to go to line it up like that. Yeah, that's cute. Now you'll see this little line that looks like it was a boo-boo or no, that's actually on the stamp. And the stamp is to do the corners of a piece of furniture or a frame or something like that, but it's definitely not perfect. Now what we can do, that'll be good. I'm winging it here because I was planning to do something else, but then I realized, well, that could be, let's see if I can do this. I'm going to flip this over and do it this way. Because I want the line. I don't want to ink up the entire stamp. So I'm just going to ink up that corner. And we're going to line them up, go down. Very cute. So same thing, but I'm going to use the other side. Yeah, a little shaky there. I can't tell if I've got these lined up okay or not. A little off, but cute enough. He's turning out cute. He's definitely a friendly pumpkin. So now I think I'm going to do the same thing with the nose, except flip it around and go this way. Oh, no, I lied. I'm going to do it the other way. But they're your pumpkins. When you're doing it, do whatever tickles you. I love Halloween. I love decorating for Halloween. It's so much fun. It's, you know, it's about kids and having fun and playing. Very good. Okay, so now I'm going to just scoot him aside before we move on to the next step, and I'm going to do this one. So this one, we're going to do a little bit more IOD, and we're going to do it florally. So we have these two. This one fits better, the smaller floral. And you could do the center of that as the eye, but I'm going to do mine a little bit different. I think I'm going to grab my... When you get these, get a couple. Use one as a whole, use one as a half sheet, and then cut up one and just cut the heck out of it. Why? Because you're always going to be using smaller pieces. Now, when you get the stamps, a lot of times the sisters will tell you, you know, just cut it up, cut up the stamp. I like to keep mine on my sheet. I don't know why. And do it that way. Taking them off and on, I think it's so that I know when I'm missing a piece. Then, you know, it's missing from that sheet. So I do it this way. Actually, I think I want that whole thing up a little further. So I'm going to just basically using the bottom of this as my eyeball. Part of the problem is when I'm filming, I can't be on the top looking down. When you're just doing it yourself, you can do that. Clean up this edge just a smidge. Center it. There we go. So yeah, that for an eyeball would be really cute. Matter of fact, well, there was 2 ways I was going to do it. So I think I'm going to grab one of these. Too many decisions. So I'm going to clean this off, and then I'm going to carefully stamp that flower. And I'm not going to be able to do it perfectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my baby wipe, and I'm just going to go in there and carefully wipe some of that back. Yeah, that's very sweet. I didn't get a lot of ink on it. I'm going to try that again. Oh. There we go. So I'm just going in there with my fingernail inside that and cleaning it up. No, I got a little bit bleed over. I can take my paintbrush after this and I'll just touch it up so that it doesn't show. I didn't clean my stamp up on this edge enough. Okay, one more. So I was so worried about getting right next to it that I didn't clean up the whole thing. So just make sure you get your whole stamp clean. Very sweet. So for this one, I'm going to do it a little different. And I took a piece of cardboard and I just folded it in half, cut out a triangle. I'm going to set him on there. It'd be better if actually I had done it out of, something see-through, or this is cardstock. Maybe just a regular piece of paper would have worked better. So we'll see how I can line this up or not. But when you're carving your pumpkins, they're not perfect either. So I'm pulling off this other stamp. It's got a little bit more to it. And I put the backing on it. And then I'm just going to stamp this little edge, or this little end, I should say. And don't stamp on your pumpkins like I'm doing it, because you can ink up your pumpkin and then you're going backwards. It didn't ink up very well. There we go. So I'm just going to hold him down about where I think I want him. Actually, I'm going to kind of fold that so I kind of, I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to push down really nice and tight so that, because this is thick enough, and if you use paper, you're not going to have to push quite as much. But if you use something like I just did, cardstock, or if you end up using, you know, one of the thin mounts, because it's raised, it you got to get the stamp down in there. Let's see what we got. And it turned out really cute. And we'll do it again, and then we'll get its little nose. And this is what I mean about not being able to really see what I'm doing. And I just cut that down a smidge. As long as you got your edges cleaned up and you're not using too big of a stamp, this will be okay to cut it down a smidge. And then for the nose, I'm going to, once again, that way I can kind of see where I want it between the mouth. Think about. So I'm going to take my little pumpkin here, and I'm going to work on the top now. And I had a video last year that I had done where I had made pumpkin stems from paper clay. And I actually had put toothpicks. This little guy's got a toothpick in there. And so I broke it off, and hopefully that'll keep him still sitting. And I also kind of shaped this because I was putting them in dollar store pumpkins. So I had this whole tray of pumpkin stems to use, and I painted them different colors. So I'll link the video for this down below. You could also use a dowel and have it stick straight out, but this is kind of a fun little extra. But before I glue it, I want to make some little curlicues to go stick out. And so what I'm going to do is, these are ones I made already, and you can get wire. This is a rusted wire that I've had for quite a while, and that would work. You could get a thick wire, certainly not this stuff. This is, I don't even know why I have this, quite honestly. Something thick, because it will really show, or you could just grab whatever wire you have. So what you do is you grab just a piece of this wire. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. You can leave it on there and just cut it when you're done. And I'm going to take some just little pliers, and on the end I'm going to fold it. And you can curl it, you know, into a little curl like that, or you can flatten it. Doesn't matter. The reason why is you don't want some little one coming and grabbing and getting poked, especially if you have thicker wire. And you also don't want it snagging on somebody's clothes or whatnot. So I'm going to grab, this is my paintbrush from, no, I've got one over here. This is just a paintbrush. And I'm going to take it, and I'm going to just wrap it around the paintbrush. You can do a pencil, whatever. I want it a little thicker. I'm not going to wrap the entire thing. And I'm going to pull this guy off. And you've got a little wire. I'm going to pull it a little bit more. Then this is my weathered wood. You could use whatever color you're wanting to. And I'm just dipping it in there and coating it. And then I'm going to make some noise real quick. I'm going to take my heat gun or my blow dryer. If you use a blow dryer, use it on low blow so that you're not flinging paint everywhere. But this is my heat gun. Oop, I got a little drop coming. And it's that fast. And I do have a little bit of a drip mark, but it just adds a little bit of a character. Then you can just make up a bunch of those and then heat dry them, or dip them and heat dry them, and it goes pretty fast. So I'm going to put him on there, and then I'm going to put these little guys sticking out from the stem. So I made these a little bit extra long, so I'm going to go ahead and trim them now. And we're going to glue him so he's ready. I just want to get him. So you kind of have, it's better to, if you had 3 hands for this part, but here we are. Just going to hold it, and then I'm going to come down with my glue. Center it. I'll clean up the glue that I have. You could also add a little leaf. I have some old dollar store flowers. You can tell they're old because they're burlap, and people haven't used burlap in a while. But you could just cut them, add it to the top if you wanted to decorate his little head up. It needed a leaf. It needed a leaf. So I went ahead and made a paper clay leaf with IOD's clay and the sunflower mold. And I did the folded leaf because it's a little bit more generic. It doesn't look like a pumpkin leaf. And then I just bent it to however way you want it to look, and just kind of put it on top of the pumpkin and see if that's how you want it. And then just let it dry there. And once it's dried, then go ahead and paint it, and then you can add it to your pumpkin. I always get to the end of the video and realize, oh, wait a minute, there was one more thing that I wanted to show. You have to admit, this guy looks a little bit like a skeleton pumpkin. Just saying. This guy's a little cuter, a little bit more friendly. So we're going to make him, hopefully, this will help make him a little bit more friendly, but this could be just an added step that you could do. I just cut an arch free-handed out of a piece of cardstock again. And I'm just going to set him on there. And I'm just going to take a pen, black pen. I'm just going to kind of yeah, see, that makes him look a little bit more friendly. And put the lines in from that are in a pumpkin. I'm going to flip that so it's not identical. And I'm going to slide it down a little bit. Same thing. No. So my pen didn't work. So let's try it again. Let's say slide it down, find exactly where I had it. Doesn't really matter because as long as I do it. Still kind of looks like a skeleton. Turns out pretty cute. You probably didn't think that you could do pumpkins with Christmas stamps, huh? Actually, you can do them with any of your stamps. Just, you know, pull out what you got. But if you have the new Heavenly, it works really cute. But any of your stamps, you can, you know, do the masking style. You could give them eyebrows, have fun with it. And if you do them, post them down below. I'd love to see what your pumpkins turned out looking like. If you have any questions about any of the products I used here, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com, and thank you so much for joining me. Bye.